There is a particular kind of silence that surrounds financial struggle. It is not loud like other crises. It does not always show on your face, but it sits in your chest. It follows you into the night. It whispers when you check your bank account, when you open a bill, when you calculate numbers again and again, hoping they will somehow change. Maybe you have been praying. Maybe you have been working hard, doing everything you know to do, and still, it feels like money slips through your fingers like water. You try to hold it. You try to manage it. You try to stretch it. But at the end of the month, there is that same tightness in your stomach, that same quiet question, why is this so hard? There is also a hidden shame that rarely gets spoken out loud. The feeling of not being able to provide the way you want to. The subtle hit to your self-esteem. The quiet comparison with others who seem stable, secure, ahead, and slowly, without noticing, your identity begins to attach itself to your financial condition. If there is lack, you feel like you are lacking. If there is debt, you feel like you are failing. Let me say this gently and clearly. Your bank balance is not your value. Your current season is not your identity. And financial pressure, as real as it is, does not cancel your worth. Psalm 23 begins with a sentence that feels almost impossible when bills are overdue. The Lord is my shepherd. I shall not want. Notice what it does not say. It does not say, my salary is my shepherd. It does not say, my savings are my shepherd. It says the Lord. Provision, in its deepest sense, begins with relationship. It begins with trust in divine care before it appears as numbers in an account. When David wrote those words, he was not speaking as someone who never faced uncertainty. He understood valleys, he understood threats, and still, he declared that lack would not define him because his source was not limited to what he could see. Psalm 24 adds another layer. The earth is the Lord's and everything in it. Everything. Not some things. Not only spiritual things. Everything. This shifts the internal narrative. Your job is not the ultimate source. Your employer is not the ultimate source. The economy is not the ultimate source. God is. And when the mind slowly absorbs that truth, anxiety begins to loosen its grip. Anxiety around money activates survival mechanisms in the brain. It narrows focus. It amplifies fear. It can make every decision feel urgent and heavy. But when you consciously remind yourself that your life is held by a greater provider, your nervous system begins to regulate. Trust is not denial. Trust is alignment. It allows your body to breathe even before circumstances change. There is a powerful biblical image that speaks directly to financial miracles. The widow, with a small jar of oil, was drowning in debt. She had almost nothing. And yet, the miracle did not begin in public. It began behind closed doors. She shut the door. She trusted. She poured what little she had. And as she poured, it multiplied. Notice the sequence. She did not wait until she saw abundance to believe. She believed with what she had. She acted in faith inside an intimate space. Financial miracles often begin in that same invisible place, in the quiet decision to trust, in the private prayer where no one else sees your tears, in the internal shift from panic to surrender. When we talk about unlocking blessings, it is important to understand something essential. You cannot force God to act. You cannot manipulate heaven with desperation. Unlocking blessings is not about pressure. It is about alignment. It is about removing the internal blocks that keep you in fear, in shame, in impulsive decisions, in patterns that sabotage provision. Sometimes the greatest financial blockage is not external, it is internal. It is the belief that you will always struggle, the belief that you are bad with money, the belief that abundance is for other people. Those beliefs shape behavior, and behavior shapes outcomes. So tonight, or today, wherever you are listening from, begin here. Not with numbers, not with spreadsheets. Begin with your heart. Begin with your breathing. Begin with this quiet declaration. The Lord is my shepherd. I shall not want. Let that sentence move slowly through your mind. Let it challenge your fear. Let it comfort your shame. Let it remind you that provision is not random. It flows from relationship, from trust, from wisdom that is higher than your current view. The weight you feel is real. The pressure is real. The bills are real. But so is God's care. So is divine wisdom. So is the possibility of a different financial future, shaped not only by income, but by alignment, discipline, and faith. You're not foolish for feeling overwhelmed. You're human, but you're also invited into something deeper than panic. You are invited into trust, into partnership, into a prayer that does not beg in fear, but aligns in confidence. Stay here. Breathe slowly. Feel your shoulders soften just a little. This is where the miracle begins. Not in the wallet, not in the account, but in the heart that chooses to trust the shepherd even when the valley looks long. And as we continue, you will begin to see that the first blessing to unlock is not money, it is peace. Long before money multiplies in your hands, something must shift in your mind, because you can receive an increase and still feel poor. You can experience provision and still live in fear. Scarcity is not only a financial condition, it is often a mental and emotional state. Perhaps you have been living in constant expectation of lack, even when something good happens, a small provision, a new opportunity, a temporary relief. Your mind whispers, "It won't last." That whisper shapes your body. It tightens your chest. It makes you hold your breath. It keeps you in survival mode even when there is a moment of stability. Scarcity thinking trains the brain to focus on what is missing rather than what is present. And over time, that focus becomes automatic. You wake up already scanning for what might go wrong. You make decisions from fear rather than from clarity. And then, without realizing it, you reinforce the very cycle you are trying to escape. There is also a deeper wound that financial struggle can create: the silent association between your worth and your income. When money is low, you feel small. When bills pile up, you feel inadequate. But Psalm 37 offers a grounding promise: the righteous will not be forsaken, nor their children begging for bread. This is not a guarantee of luxury. It is a promise of care connected to integrity, to alignment, to a life rooted in God. Notice that the promise is tied to righteousness, not to hustle, to faithfulness, not to frantic effort. Before God multiplies resources, He often reorganizes priorities. Before abundance flows, character is strengthened. This can feel frustrating because we want immediate financial change. But internal order precedes sustainable provision. Think about it carefully. If someone hands water to a cracked vessel, the water will leak. The issue is not the supply. The issue is the structure. In the same way, if habits, beliefs, and priorities remain disordered, Even an increase can disappear quickly. So, sometimes what feels like delay is actually preparation. This is why, in your prayer for financial breakthrough, you must ask for more than money. Ask for wisdom. Ask for discipline. Ask for discernment. Ask for clarity about your spending patterns, your emotional triggers, your long-term vision. Money amplifies what is already present. If there is fear, it amplifies fear. If there is wisdom, it amplifies wisdom. And here is a liberating truth. Your current situation does not mean you are cursed. It does not mean you are incapable. It may simply mean that there is a mindset being reshaped. God does not only provide externally, He transforms internally. As you pray, begin to say, Lord, heal my relationship with money. Heal my fear of not having enough. Heal my tendency to compare. Heal the belief that my value depends on my salary. These are not small prayers. They are foundational prayers. Financial miracle is not just about increase. It is about alignment. It is about becoming the kind of person who can carry increase without anxiety consuming it. It is about shifting from panic-driven decisions to purpose-driven choices. When your mind begins to trust that God is your source, your nervous system calms. When your heart begins to believe that you are not abandoned, your decisions become clearer, and clarity, over time, produces stability. So, before the numbers change, allow the narrative to change. Before the wallet fills, allow the mindset to heal, because a restored interior can retain what a fearful heart would lose. And this is not overnight transformation. It is gradual, it is conscious, it is daily. But every time you choose trust over panic, every time you choose integrity over impulse, you are participating in your own miracle. The miracle begins within, and from there, it flows outward. It is possible to pray for a financial miracle with your lips while rehearsing financial disaster in your mind. You kneel, you ask, you declare faith, and then, hours later, your thoughts begin to spiral. What if nothing changes? What if I lose even more? What if I never get out of this? And slowly, the anxiety you feed becomes louder than the prayer you prayed. This is not because you lack faith. It is because you are human. Financial pressure touches something primal inside you. It activates survival instincts. It signals danger to your brain. When money feels uncertain, the body reacts as if safety itself is threatened. And that reaction can overpower even sincere spiritual intentions. Psalm 62 says, "Truly, my soul finds rest in God. My salvation comes from Him. My soul, wait in silence for God alone." Silence, not frantic repetition, not forced positivity. Silence. Silence here is not emptiness. It is trust expressed through stillness. There is a difference between emotional excitement and grounded faith. Excitement rises quickly and falls quickly. Faith is quieter. It is steady. It does not deny uncertainty, but it refuses to be ruled by it. You do not need to feel euphoric to believe. You need to be anchored. After you pray a strong prayer for financial breakthrough, your next step is not more words. It is stillness. Set aside 5 minutes. Just 5. No phone, no calculations, no mental planning. Sit, breathe slowly, and allow your nervous system to settle. At first, your mind may resist. Thoughts will try to rush back in. You should be doing something. You are wasting time. You need to figure this out. Notice those thoughts without judgment and gently return to silence. This practice trains your heart to trust beyond urgency. When you choose silence after prayer, you're telling your brain that you are safe. You are telling your body that God is at work even when you are not actively solving the problem. And over time, this rewires your stress response. Anxiety loses some of its automatic power. Remember Elijah. He expected God in the wind, in the earthquake, in the fire. But God came in a gentle whisper. Financial miracles do not always arrive with dramatic announcements. Sometimes they begin as subtle shifts: a new idea, a calm decision, an unexpected connection, a disciplined habit that slowly changes the trajectory. But if your mind is constantly in panic mode, you may miss the whisper. You may overlook the small opening because you're waiting for a loud breakthrough. Silence sharpens perception. Silence aligns you with guidance that is already present. Faith is not noise. Faith is stability in the middle of uncertainty. It is breathing deeply while the numbers have not yet changed. It is choosing not to catastrophize when an unexpected expense appears. It is reminding yourself again and again that your life is not hanging by a thread. So, after you pray, do not rush back into fear. Protect the atmosphere of your heart. Guard your thoughts. If anxious images arise, acknowledge them and return to this truth. My soul waits in silence for God alone. Let your soul wait. Let it rest. Let it trust, because miracles are often born in quiet spaces where fear no longer dominates. When money feels tight, the instinct is to close your hands, to hold everything, to protect every dollar, to grip tightly out of fear that if you release anything, there will not be enough left. This reaction is deeply human. When resources seem scarce, the nervous system moves toward preservation. But there is a spiritual principle that feels almost paradoxical in seasons of lack. Psalm 41 says that the Lord blesses the one who considers the poor, not the one who ignores, not the one who hoards, the one who considers, who remains aware of others, even while navigating personal difficulty. Generosity during abundance feels easy. Generosity during struggle feels risky. And that is precisely why it is powerful. Because generosity in scarcity confronts the belief that you are alone and unprotected. It confronts the fear that everything depends only on you. There is an unconscious block that can form in financial hardship. I must keep everything because there is never enough. That belief creates constant tension. It tightens the heart. It reinforces the identity of someone perpetually on the edge. And tension, over time, shapes behavior. Generosity, even small and symbolic generosity, breaks that tension. It tells your brain, I am not in survival mode. I am not abandoned. I can still give. And this shift is not about impressing God. It is about freeing your own heart from the psychological grip of scarcity. Understand this clearly. Generosity is not irresponsibility. It is not reckless giving. It is intentional. It is thoughtful. It may be small, very small, but it is consistent with trust. Even setting aside a modest amount to help someone, support a cause, or bless another person becomes an act of alignment. From a neurological perspective, giving activates parts of the brain associated with connection and reward. It reduces stress hormones and increases feelings of purpose. Spiritually, it realigns you with the truth that provision flows. It does not stagnate. Think of a seed. When you place a seed in the soil, it looks like loss. You're letting go of something tangible, but that is the only way harvest becomes possible. If you cling to the seed out of fear, you never experience growth. The moment of planting feels vulnerable, but it is the beginning of multiplication. Strategic generosity is planting with intention. It is saying, even in this season, I choose not to let fear dictate my heart. It shifts your identity from someone trapped in lack to someone who participates in divine flow. This does not guarantee immediate financial return. That is not the motivation. The deeper miracle is what happens inside you. Your posture changes. Your relationship with money changes. You stop seeing it only as something to defend and start seeing it as something to steward. And stewardship is powerful because when you view money as something entrusted to you rather than something that defines you, your decisions become wiser, more thoughtful, more aligned. So ask yourself gently, is fear closing my hand completely? Is there a small act of generosity I can practice, not to prove faith, but to exercise it? Even in difficulty, you are capable of blessing someone. Even in scarcity, you are capable of participating in provision. And as your heart opens, something else opens with it. Perspective, gratitude, connection. The grip of fear loosens. Seeds planted in faith do not look dramatic in the moment. They look small, quiet, almost invisible. But over time, they become the very evidence that you chose trust over panic, and that choice matters more than you know. There is a common misunderstanding when it comes to financial miracles. Many people wait for divine intervention while leaving their habits untouched. They pray sincerely, they declare boldly, but they avoid looking closely at their patterns. And this is not about blame, it is about alignment. Psalm 90 contains a humble request. Teach us to number our days, that we may gain a heart of the wisdom. Numbering our days is about awareness. It is about recognizing that time is limited, that choices matter, that small daily decisions accumulate into long-term realities. And this wisdom applies not only to time, but to money. A financial miracle is not always a sudden deposit. Sometimes it is clarity. Sometimes it is a new idea that had been waiting for your attention. Sometimes it is the discipline to say no, where you once said yes, impulsively. Sometimes it is the courage to learn what you avoided out of fear. It is important to break the myth that prayer replaces responsibility. Prayer strengthens responsibility. Prayer aligns your mind and heart so that your decisions reflect trust rather than panic. Heaven and human action are not enemies. They are partners. Think of Noah. He received a promise of salvation, but the promise did not build the ark by itself. Day after day, he worked, measured, hammered, constructed. The miracle was divine, but the obedience was daily. In the same way, you may receive a word of provision, but you are still invited to build wisely. So, what does alignment look like in practical terms? First, sincere prayer, not rushed, not mechanical, honest conversation with God about your fears, your habits, your hopes, acknowledging where you have been careless, acknowledging where you have been afraid, inviting divine wisdom into specific financial decisions. Second, realistic planning. This is not lack of faith, it is stewardship. Write down your expenses. Observe your patterns without self-condemnation. Clarity is not shame. Clarity is power. When you see clearly, you can adjust intentionally. Third, coherent action. Small, consistent steps. Reducing unnecessary spending. Seeking counsel if needed. Exploring opportunities you may have dismissed, following through on ideas that align with your gifts and values. This threefold rhythm, prayer, planning, action, creates stability. It moves you from wishful thinking to intentional living. And intention changes outcomes over time. Financial breakthrough is often gradual. It builds, it strengthens, it stabilizes. And while that may not feel as dramatic as sudden wealth, it is far more sustainable. You do not need to become someone else overnight. You need to become more conscious, more aligned, more disciplined in small ways that compound over months and years. And as you align your decisions with your prayers, something beautiful happens. Anxiety decreases, confidence grows, not because you control everything, but because you are participating in your own breakthrough. Heaven responds to humility. Heaven responds to integrity. And when your heart, your habits, and your hope begin to move in the same direction, doors that once seemed locked begin to loosen, not by force, but by alignment. There is a powerful image in Psalm 24. Lift up your heads, O gates. Be lifted up, you ancient doors, that the King of Glory may come in. This is not only poetry, it is a spiritual picture of something happening inside you. Gates, doors, openings. Sometimes the doors that need to open are not external opportunities, but internal passages that have been closed by fear. Financial doors are not always locked by circumstances alone. Many are closed by guilt over past mistakes, by shame about debt, by impulsive decisions you regret, by words spoken over you years ago. You are bad with money. You will always struggle. This is just your reality. Those words become internal gates that remain shut. When shame dominates, clarity disappears. When guilt lingers, unresolved, confidence weakens. And without confidence, opportunities feel intimidating rather than inviting. This is why unlocking blessings begins with realignment, not denial. If you have made financial mistakes, acknowledge them, not with self-hatred, with honesty. Confession is not humiliation. It is liberation. When you bring your errors before God and say, I recognize this pattern and I want to change, something shifts in your conscience. The weight becomes lighter. The fog begins to clear. There is emotional power in repentance. It restores dignity. It allows you to move forward without constantly replaying the past. And once the past is faced, new possibilities appear more clearly. Imagine an old lock covered in rust. You can push against the door with all your strength, but it will not open. Force is not the solution. The right key is, and the key in financial life is wisdom combined with active faith. Wisdom teaches you what to adjust. Faith gives you courage to adjust it. Some doors may require you to rebuild trust with yourself, to create new habits slowly, to track spending consistently, to avoid the emotional purchases that once gave temporary relief, but long-term stress. These small disciplines are not punishment. They are preparation. And here is something hopeful. When you align your heart, your habits, and your intentions, you begin to notice opportunities you once overlooked. Ideas feel less overwhelming. Conversations feel more purposeful. You carry yourself differently, not arrogantly, steadily. Lift up your heads, O gates. This is also about posture. When shame makes you look down, you miss what is ahead. When fear makes you hide, you cannot walk into new spaces. But when you lift your head, even in humility, you signal readiness. Financial unlocking is not magic. It is alignment. It is courage. It is willingness to let old patterns close and new ones begin. And when the King of Glory enters the inner gates of your heart, he does not only bring money, he brings clarity. He brings direction. He brings peace that steadies you while you rebuild. Do not underestimate the power of internal opening. When fear releases, when guilt is surrendered, when intention becomes clear, doors that seemed permanently shut begin to shift, not all at once, but gradually and sustainably. And that kind of opening lasts. Now we arrive at the most important part, not the explanation, not the strategy, the prayer, because everything we have reflected on must now be anchored in surrender. Take a slow breath. Let it fill your lungs completely. Exhale gently. Feel the weight you've been carrying. The calculations, the worries, the quiet fears about the future. You do not need to deny them. Just bring them into this moment. Let us begin with Psalm 23, not as poetry, but as declaration. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. He makes me lie down in green pastures. He leads me beside still waters. He restores my soul. As you say these words, notice what they emphasize. Shepherd, guidance, rest, restoration. Before provision shows up in your account, it must show up in your soul. A restored soul makes wiser decisions. A rested mind hears clearer guidance. A shepherd does not abandon his flock in drought. He leads them through it. Continue gently. Even though I walk through the valley, I will fear no evil, for you are with me. Financial valleys are still valleys. They feel long. They feel uncertain. But they are passages, not permanent addresses. You are walking through, not settling there forever. Now declare Psalm 24 with confidence. The earth is the Lord's, and everything in it. Everything. Every opportunity. Every resource. Every unseen connection. Every open door and every closed one. Wealth is not independent from God. It is under His authority. Visible resources and invisible possibilities both belong to Him. Let this prayer become personal now. Lord, align my heart with your wisdom. Purify my intentions. Remove fear from my decisions. Open doors that come from you, and close the ones that would lead me away from your will. Teach me discipline without shame. Teach me generosity without fear. Teach me stewardship without anxiety. Say that slowly. Let each phrase settle. Alignment, purification, discipline. These are not restrictions. They are foundations for stability. Now, address the cycles directly. In the name of the Lord, I break cycles of scarcity thinking. I release guilt over past financial mistakes. I reject the belief that I am destined to struggle forever. I choose wisdom. I choose integrity. I choose perseverance. Notice the firmness here, not aggression. Authority. Authority over your own patterns. Authority over the narratives that once defined you. Financial miracle is not only money arriving, it is stability remaining. It is peace that does not disappear with a temporary expense. It is clarity that guides consistent action. It is provision that aligns with purpose. There are people who receive sudden wealth and lose it quickly because the interior was never prepared. But when the heart is aligned, when discipline is rooted, when fear is replaced by faith, even small increases become seeds of lasting transformation. So let this final truth settle deeply inside you. The real miracle is not just financial increase. It is financial stability. It is emotional peace. It is wisdom that multiplies what you are given. It is honor that glorifies God through how you manage what flows into your life. You are not cursed. You are not forgotten. You are not trapped in this season. You are learning. You are aligning. You are being prepared. And as you continue walking, praying sincerely, planning wisely, acting consistently, you will look back one day and realize that this was the season where everything began to shift. Not overnight, not magically, but steadily, faithfully, sustainably. Lift your head. The gates are opening. Provision is not only about what enters your life, it is about who you become as it does. Rest now in that assurance. The shepherd is guiding you. The source is faithful, and stability is being built from the inside out. Stay a little longer in this atmosphere of prayer. Do not rush away from it. Financial pressure has a way of making everything feel urgent, immediate, demanding. But peace grows slowly. Stability is built slowly. And right now, you are building something deeper than a quick solution. Take another deep breath. Let your body register safety. When money has been a source of stress for a long time, your nervous system may have forgotten what calm feels like. So breathe intentionally. Inhale slowly. Exhale fully. Let your shoulders drop. Let your jaw unclench. This is not denial of reality. This is regulation in the middle of reality. Say quietly within yourself, God is my source, not my paycheck, not the market, not the opinion of others. God is my source. When you repeat that, you're not ignoring practical responsibility. You are repositioning your trust. Because when your trust rests only on visible systems, every fluctuation feels like collapse. But when your trust rests on God, you can navigate fluctuation without losing your center. There may still be bills to pay. There may still be difficult conversations ahead. There may still be adjustments you need to make, but you will approach them differently now. Not with panic, not with shame, with clarity, with intention, with quiet confidence that you are not abandoned. Let this final prayer seal what has begun in your heart. Father, I place my finances in your hands. Heal what has been disordered. Restore what has been mismanaged. Guide me in decisions I must make. Protect me from impulsive choices driven by fear. Open my eyes to opportunities aligned with my gifts. Give me courage to act when doors open, and give me patience when waiting is required. Pause after each sentence in your mind. Feel the sincerity of it. Feel the humility of it. This is not a performance. It is relationship. If there are specific numbers that frighten you, bring them before God. If there's a debt that feels overwhelming, name it in prayer. If there is an opportunity you are afraid to pursue, present it. God is not intimidated by your specifics. He is not overwhelmed by your situation. And now, release comparison. Release the pressure to measure your journey against someone else's highlight reel. Everyone's financial path is different. Everyone's timing is different. What matters is alignment. What matters is growth. What matters is faithfulness with what is in your hands today. Do not despise small progress. A small reduction in debt matters. A small increase in savings matters. A new habit practiced consistently matters. These are not insignificant. They are seeds of stability. And remember this, abundance without peace is not a miracle. Stability without anxiety is. Provision that comes with wisdom is. Money that is stewarded with integrity is. So, As this prayer closes, hold this truth gently but firmly in your spirit. Your story is not finished. Your financial situation is not your final identity. Your past mistakes are not permanent labels. Your future is not sealed by fear. You are being guided. You are being refined. You are being strengthened. Keep praying sincerely. Keep planning wisely. Keep acting consistently. Keep trusting deeply. And when anxiety tries to return, because it may, come back to Psalm 23. Come back to Psalm 24. Come back to silence. Come back to breath. Come back to trust. The miracle you seek is not only money arriving, it is peace settling. It is wisdom growing. It is discipline forming. It is doors opening in due time. And that kind of miracle lasts. Rest now in this assurance. The shepherd is leading you. The source is faithful. The doors that align with your purpose will open, and the stability you long for is being built patiently, intentionally, faithfully, from the inside out. Stay in faith. Stay in integrity. Stay in peace. Provision is coming in the form that sustains you.